The truth is, Mr. Modi is a media creation. He hasn't had any substance at all. The most disastrous prime minister, and I'm not saying that because I'm a critic of his policies or his ideology. I think he's been a disastrous prime minister for India. And in recent times, in foreign policy and national security, he's a dismal failure, which makes Dr. Manmohan Singh look like a Nostradamus.
That question is not coming up at all. What about the brand Modi? How big is the Modi factor in Bihar? No one is asking. No one is asking. And which is why I think videos like this are being launched. What is your
Yeah,
sense?
I think it's an act of sheer desperation. Because let me tell you, nothing happens which is backed by the BJP without a lot of calibration, thought, planning. Because remember, people who are authoritarian by mindset and behavior are very programmed to follow a certain protocol. Mr. Modi playing victim and saying that the others are abusing him is such an exaggeration for the simple reason that the biggest victim of abuse politics in this country, extremely unsubstantiated charges, ad hominem attacks, disenfranchised as a member of parliament, has been Rahul Gandhi. I know that for a fact because I've been part of the Congress for a very long time. Rahul Gandhi has been literally hung from the tallest tree by the thinnest thread, by the extremely foul, and I would call it as a vulgar propaganda spread through fake news and alternative truths. Rahul Gandhi has been the victim, not Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi's got the whole media backing for him. He's the last man on earth.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought provoking conversations. Thank you so much, Sanjay, and always a pleasure having you on the program. And it's
Thank
an
you.
interesting subject today, and you keep writing also about it. We've been talking about it very often. But this latest video, Modi Hai To Mumkin Hai, coming right in the middle of Bihar elections. What does this video really show, according to you? Does it show Modi's insecurity? Does it show the incompetence of Modi's brand managers? What is it, according to you?
Well, Nulu, I think we need to bite the bullet right from the word go. The first and foremost, what it shows is that Bollywood, India's famous film industry, has got the backbone of a Maggie noodle or a chocolate eclair. You make the choice, Neelu. End of day, Bollywood has subjected itself to such craven behavior that it's almost embarrassing. It is like absolutely shocking. I mean, this is what somebody would call as typically chicken hearted, jelly bean behavior elsewhere in the world. Uh, if you look at Bollywood's history, and that's why Mr. Modi and his brand managers use it as an instrument for his propaganda and promotion, is because, to use the famous quote of L.K. Advani, they were asked to bend, but they chose to crawl instead. Fully
Yes.
prospect. Now, here is the point. Look at the movies Bollywood has produced since 2014. There's a whole list of them. I got some in front of me, from Kerala Story, Kashmir Files, movie on Veer Savarkar, The Emergency, The Accidental Prime Minister, Article 370, Sabarmati Express, The Vaccine War. I mean, they went to an extremely, but let me add some other films. Tashkent Files. Then you have Godhra. There's a movie called Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Have you heard of this in two other comparable democracies, US and UK? I mean, people would laugh if they heard that Bollywood has become such a travesty. And I'm not even talking about, Neelu, the way everybody from a very distinguished Shah Rukh Khan downwards is issuing these birthday videos. I can understand you have a respect for a prime minister, but to do this kind of, what I call is very brazen, blatant subservience and uttering those extremely fake platitudes praising the prime minister is a shock. It tells you that India is not a democracy. I mean, it's been unheard of, it's unparalleled, really. So to answer your question, when that video came out, Modi hai to mumkin hai, with some very illustrious stars that I think are fantastic actors. Rajkumar Rao, I think, is brilliant. But the way Varun Dhawan and all these guys have performed, I think, in that video is laughable. And it goes to tell you that all these guys are willing to play the game, the BJP playbook, which is to say, listen, let's kind of dance to the tune of the supreme leader. Maybe they have some things they are fearful of, whether it's the ED or the income tax or the CBI. Or if nothing else, they hope to, get the support of the constituency of people who support the Modi government to say, hey, these guys are on our side. Either way, it's pathetic, it's despicable, and frankly makes Indian democracy look like a joke. I think when you look at Mr. Modi, frankly speaking, and I'll be blunt about it, not too many people are, I've always felt that he is a manufactured brand. Frankly, even before 2014, Mr. Modi had to answer a lot of questions on what happened in 2002 in Gujarat. And I don't think they have gone away, as we saw when the BBC documentary came out. And Mr. Modi cannot deny the fact that the US government refused to give him a visa for very serious reasons. So I think he was already pretty stigmatized in terms of fake encounters, the authoritarian government in Gujarat. But he won the election. And once he wins an election, obviously you become a legitimate head of state, or rather, I wouldn't say head of state, prime minister. You get access to the world, you get access to your media. Mr. Modi is, frankly speaking, always been a flawed brand. I think at a local level in Gujarat, he was successful in terms of his positioning as the man who was trying to, kind of develop the state through vibrant Gujarat, etc. But anyone who knows the history of Gujarat will tell you this, Neelu, that Gujarat has always been a state which has seen a lot of entrepreneurship. It's always had people who are naturally savvy business people. And frankly speaking, it was extremely developed even before Mr. Modi became the chief minister. But he's a smart political creature. He hogged all the credit. Okay, let's concede that point. But the kind of misgovernance, the communal tensions that Gujarat faced, frankly, was at a very repugnant level, very reprehensible level. But he became the prime minister. I think his brand was sustained by the mainstream media. And I think hats off to people like you and all the podcasters who have actually pushed back. Because if you look at mainstream television today, and I go to practically most of the TV channels on any given evening, I can tell you most of them are compromised, or they are ideologically aligned with the government, or they are supporting the government for advertising bucks. Whatever be the reason, the truth is Mr. Modi is a media creation. He hasn't had any substance at all. If you look at facts and figures, and we'll talk about it in the conversation later on, I think he's been the most disastrous prime minister. And I'm not saying that because I'm a critique of his policies or his ideology. I think he's been a disastrous prime minister for India. And in recent times, in foreign policy and national security, he's a dismal failure, which makes Dr. Manmohan Singh look like a Nostradamus who
No, but
predicted.
Sanjay, what
India.
could be the intention? Though T Series launched this particular video last month, it's a 1 month
Right.
old video. But
Mhm.
what do you think would be the intention of selling brand Modi in the middle of Bihar, where people are talking about the fact that he's a failed leader, foreign policy has failed, Trump is mocking at him, humiliating him, and he's talked about more because of his silence that he's capitulating before Donald Trump. And in the middle of all this comes a shiny video with immaculate roads, flyovers, G20 summit, and whatnot. Uh, what do you think could be the intention of launching a video like this in the middle of Bihar elections?
Pretty obvious to try and boost his sagging popularity. If you look at Mr. Modi today, I mean, he's not able to answer Donald Trump. These conversations have to happen between contemporaries. He can't say that the foreign secretary or the foreign minister said this. Donald Trump has said over 50 times that India did the ceasefire on Operation Sindoor because he told Mr. Modi, I will not strike a trade deal with you. Simple. If Mr. Modi believes that Donald Trump is being disingenuous, call him out. That's what happens in politics, actually. So, I'm astonished that Mr. Modi is not able to have the courage to address it. Actually, he should do that pretty much in a conversation, but he hasn't been able to do that on a tweet either.
But
So,
Sanjay, there's
quite
another thing,
simply put, he's compromised.
right? But if you remember, with every election, almost we've been talking through every elections, and we've been doing programs with you, and we've
Hmm.
always spoken about the Modi factor in every election. In
Hmm.
Bihar, that question is not coming up at all. What about the brand Modi? How big is the Modi factor in Bihar? No one is asking. No one is asking, and which is why I think videos like this are being launched. What is your
Yeah,
sense?
I think it's an act of sheer desperation. Because let me tell you, nothing happens which is backed by the BJP without a lot of calibration, thought, planning. Because remember, people who are authoritarian by mindset and behavior are very programmed to follow a certain protocol. What to say when, which media will highlight it at what point of time. It's a very organized, orchestrated campaign, Neelu. It's beyond our imagination. Please go back to how, and I'm making a fairly, I think, honest comparison. But you look at all fascist regimes, they all do it in a very programmed fashion. Donald Trump, to give you an example, lies without any impunity because lying is political strategy for him. You just lie, it doesn't matter. Just be shameless. You're not worried about the consequences because you're the president for 4 years. People will cover the lie, they will dissect it, but they will talk about your lie. That lie basically funnels into your constituency that, by the way, loves you so much because of whether it's Islamophobia or whether it's because of hate for immigrants or whatever it may be, or they're pure and simple, those boys of Donald Trump or the white supremacists. They will swallow any insult. They will swallow. I mean, in the case of America, you're finding despite the Epstein files, they are still standing by him. The Republicans have no problem. So politics has changed dramatically because of social media. Mr. Modi is realized today that propaganda sells. Now, if you look at the BJP today, let's take an example of Bihar since you mentioned that, and I've been doing a lot of debates on Bihar. Mr. Modi talks about Jungle Raj. That was said 20 years ago. You have been in government for 20 years, Mr. Modi. Your government with Nitish Kumar has been there for 20 years. Take away 1 year when Nitish did his Paltoram politics. Here is the bottom line. If in 20 years Bihar is today second highest in terms of crime, or has the lowest per capita income, or is the highest in poverty and hunger, you can't blame the Congress. It's like saying blame Nehru, blame Mahatma Gandhi. It's absolutely absurd. But you see, Mr. Modi is a seasoned political creature. He knows that the media will say anything uh, that he says and multiply that into the power of 100. So he's assured coverage. Neelu, please try and understand the difference or the challenge for Rahul Gandhi against Modi. Modi will speak any balderdash and he's assured of a headline, even if it's a blatant fake news.
Yeah.
We can keep dissecting it in our program. The damage has been done. His message has been conveyed to the people he wants to convey it to. And the ordinary Indian leads such a hard life. They're impressionable. They can be influenced. And Modi knows that. He's a veteran politician. And that's all he is. He's not a governance guy. No governance guy would do a demonetization. No governance guy would have allowed migrants to walk 500 kilometers back during COVID. Nobody would have fudged data like the way it's being done, even in the case of GDP of India. I mean, this is not a governance government. This is a government that does what I call as at the for the base level, what it considers at the bottom of the pyramid voters. It will do hard Hindutva, polarization, the anti-minorities rhetoric. And for the super affluent, it is crony capitalism. And he gets contracts, he gives contracts to his favored people, and he gets his money. And he
Right.
thinks that the media is under his control anyway, and all institutions in this country are under the control of the BJP. So India is not a democracy. Let's get that absolutely straight. No, I don't think let's even debate that. We are looking cosmetically like a democracy. Some people will be kind to call us a quasi democracy. I think we are, frankly speaking, a very what I call a very modern version of a very reformed fascist model. It's a fascist government, but it tries to give you the face that because I hold elections, you know what? You're pretty
Yes.
Democrat.
But do you think that Modi will now be able to come up with any new narrative, because his PR machinery also seems to be failing? Nothing seems to be working. Whatever they are doing is actually going against the wind. So, which means that Modi doesn't have any new story to tell the people. And do you think that is the reason why he's now playing the victim card, like what he did today? He's going and almost on the verge of crying. He didn't shed tears, but you would really call it crying. That, see, those two boys, boys or men or whatever he calls them, the Rahul and Tejasvi, are abusing me. He's trying to evoke sympathy. Then he's trying to say that, oh, those two men have called Chhat Puja a drama. And there is not even an iota of evidence that any opposition leader has called Chhat Puja a drama. But he goes on the stage, tells the people that, look, these two people have called Chhat Puja a drama. What does this show? I mean, what is the kind of story he's trying to tell the people?
Frankly, Nilu, I can tell you that Mr. Modi playing victim and saying that the others are abusing him is uh, such an exaggeration, for the simple reason that the biggest victim of abuse politics in this country, extremely unsubstantiated charges, ad hominem attacks, disenfranchised as a member of parliament, has been Rahul Gandhi. I know that for a fact because I've been part of the Congress for a very long time. Rahul Gandhi has been literally hung from the tallest tree by the thinnest thread, by the extremely foul, and I would call it as a vulgar propaganda spread through fake news and alternative truths. Rahul Gandhi has been the victim, not Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi's got the whole media backing for him. He's the last man on earth to talk about playing victim card. Now, here is the truth, Nilo, that I think at the end of the day, the famous saying, you can fool some of the people all the time. You can fool all of the people some of the time. You can't fool all the people all the time. Probably the law of diminishing returns has kicked in. For a long time, people liked this imagery that he had created, this avuncular, the man with the white beard, talking good Hindi. That's one thing he does well. I'll concede that one. He speaks good Hindi, and but the content, the whole spin, this attempt to say let's destroy the opposition. Even now, his language is very coarse. It's about destroying the opposition. Congress Mukt Bharat was his slogan. Wipe out the opposition. Look at the way he's abused the opposition through instruments of investigating agencies like the EDs, income tax, etc. This has not been a level playing field. I can tell you, like for example, on Chhat, that's a very popular Bihari festival and a tradition. My mother used to do Chhat, and I remember during that time, it was a very local Bihari tradition, culture, or festival, if you want to call it that nobody talked about outside of Bihar. Right? I mean, it was very unknown. As a Jha, I remember when I moved to Pune, people used to say, is this guy having a Chinese surname, but he looks a little darker for being a Chinese, because Jha was an unusual surname in Maharashtra at that time. Who had heard of Chhat? Suddenly, Chhat has become a big thing, and we know why. Because
Look,
there are
even today, when Modi was speaking, he said that my government, I am trying to bring the Chhat Puja in the UNESCO list, and look how opposition is trying to humiliate this festival. This is what he said.
they're not. I'm personally offended. I'll tell you why. Because I that story is out in the public domain, and may I request your viewers to kindly Google it. That the Bharatiya Janata Party actually creates a filtered pond with good clean water
Yes.
so that Mr. Modi can take a dip, which he eventually did not, but to take a dip so that they'll create a great photo op. I mean, that is a mockery of my festival. That is what I object against. I think one of the things that frankly angers me about Indian politics, which is why I'm there in politics and never going away, is how some politicians just take the people of India for a jolly ride. It's like literally insulting the collective intelligence of a nation. Anywhere in the world, Nelu, if the people of this country knew that a prime minister's party is trying to create this kind of a fake environment for a photo op which will become a political message, I would say the government ought to be in the docks. Here, nothing happens because the media will never talk about it. You are, but nobody else will. Electoral bonds, why didn't this government come down? This government should have had to resign. Everybody's cool. Nobody has a problem. If you look at even the last issue, well, let me mention that on your program. Washington Post's expose on Adani, where they talk about the $3.9 billion assured support to LIC, from LIC to the Adani group, and the LIC being the sole investor, by the way, on a 5,000 crore funding on a bond at a time when Adani was not able to raise money because of the bribery allegations coming from America. It's a bailout. Anywhere in the world, can you imagine Donald Trump or, for that matter, yeah, Mr. Starmer surviving it? Impossible. But in India, everything is okay because we are like all okay. So, I do feel that Mr. Modi has realized that when you have power, control all the levers that can go against you, be ruthless in doing that, speak whatever you like because the media will amplify it, and hope that the common person of this country continues to be intoxicated by that communal, uh, divisive agenda, while he will throw a freebie here and there. I'll give you another hypocrisy of Mr. Modi that is shocking to say the least. You remember the tall lectures he gave on reverie?
Yes.
I live in Mumbai and I meet a lot of people who are, part of the corporate banking, and these are these very smooth talking, pinstripe suited investment bankers variety. They were all like, look at Narendra Modi as such a vision for fiscal discipline and all that whole lot of bullshit. And I was like, hang on, do you know that in Maharashtra he's running a scheme for women, which has won him an election, which is what? Which is a reverie. And now in Bihar, rupees 10,000 has gone to women's accounts before an election. What is that? That's slavery. So Narendra Modi is a classic, and nobody's talking about it, by the way. Suddenly, these financial analysts have gone quiet. So I feel India is a
No, they
classic
do
example
question. No,
of,
but BJP leaders do question that where will Tejasvi Yadav get all the money? He's promised one job per family, and then he's promised the Jivika Didis. So they're questioning
Mhm.
about that the state exchequer doesn't have a bandwidth. So that they are
Yeah.
questioning.
Well, they
And
have
even
every. They have.
channels.
I always believe that debate should be fair. I have no problem, Neelu, with say a Sambit Patra or a BJP spokesperson or whoever it may be attacking me and doing a face-off on facts. But when these guys indulge in this usual silly rhetoric, bringing in the Gandhi family for no rhyme or reason, the Congress has been out of power for 11 years in Delhi. They'll still blame the Congress. You see, eventually in a democracy, like I think America and India, which are both currently getting pulverized by two very polarizing leaders, will turn around. They will. I'm very confident they will. Because, lies have a shelf life. Fake news is unsustainable beyond a point. You can't take the people for granted for too long. And one of the reasons in Bihar why, for example, the SIR election issue, for example, or jobs has become a very big hot button is because eventually that is the truth that people want answers to. Where are my jobs? India is today struggling with joblessness. If you go by this government's drama, India has got no unemployment problem. No unemployment problem. Mr. Modi said, fry pakoras. Then later on, he said, make Instagram reels. I mean, come on, guys, get serious. I mean, you're the prime minister. Stop making these frivolous statements. Now, he gets away with that, Neelu. Because I'll tell you there are two reasons. One is the propaganda is powerful. The ordinary Indian is probably doesn't have the time or the capacity to argue against a fake news. They just say, okay, I'll get my chance to vote. I will probably exercise it. But a large section of India's intelligentsia, what I call as people who are exposed to education and living in big cities and, even in smaller cities with good education, they're choosing to be quiet. And I think, as they say in a democracy, silence, when that becomes exercised across the board, where people say, let some people do the fight. Let Neelu Vyas fight. Let Ravish Kumar fight. Let Rajdeep Sardesai fight. Let Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi fight. Let Sanjay Jha fight. If they leave it to just a handful of us, they're basically, kind of saying, listen, we may agree with you, but we are not going to fight with you. But should you win, we are happy to be on your side. I think that has helped Mr. Modi remain in power for a much longer time. I hope Bihar is the point where that turns because it's good for India. I think the
So,
BJP
Sanjay,
losing good for
yeah,
India at this point.
But do you think that the people can now see through the frivolity and the fakery of Prime Minister Modi? Because it seems it's all about fakery. Because this Yamuna Pond you were talking about, we must not forget that he's also made fake classrooms while giving presentations and while talking about education. There have been
Yeah.
fake classrooms, there have been fake uh, ponds for Chhat Puja. So, can people really see through now?
Well, I'm hoping so. I'm very optimistic by nature. I never give up. I always believe that giving up uh, is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. You got to hang in there. You got to fight. And how do you fight? You got to fight democratically. You got to fight not just through elections. You got to fight through protests. You got to fight through communication. I think political communication is a very important part of the pushback. And therefore, I feel that, end of day, the opposition here needs to be a lot more, I would say, energetic. I won't use the word aggressive. Be energetic, reach out to people. I believe the ordinary Indian, even if they have supported BJP in the past, when they see something going wrong, they are not going to tolerate it. Congress made the mistake of assuming that people who supported you will be with you forever. But when they felt that there were some weaknesses in the Congress that were not being fixed, they moved away. I think that big chunk of voters is willing to happily come back to the center, to the Congress and the opposition. But the opposition needs to be very confident and tell the people why it's important that each Indian matters in bringing India back to track. I'm
Yes.
saying so here without absolutely batting an eyelid. The longer this government lasts in power, the more they will perpetuate corruption, which is now endemic. The more the systems will be captured by people with a very authoritarian predilection. You will see the culture of fascism become even deeper. People will not be aware of what the truth is from the fake. And eventually, at some point, we all become robotic. I'm reminded of George Orwell's 1984. Everyone
Yeah.
says the big brother, I love him. And I think that could be a problem. I have a feeling that at this point, Rahul Gandhi has risen to the challenge outstandingly. A lot of the opposition have got their act together. Rahul needs to be given full credit for the way he's exposed the election commission for not being transparent in several of their issues in terms of the way they've conducted the elections and the voting. India is at the moment, in my opinion, ready for change. It's at a tipping point. Mr. Modi's popularity, manufactured for too long, is beginning to crumble. I would say at this point, the opposition needs to seize the moment, win Bihar despite the headwinds, and change the national narrative.
My last question, Sanjay, now is that the brand Modi seems to be tapering. But how long do you see the shelf life? Supposing if NDA loses Bihar elections, what happens to that brand Modi then?
Well, Nilu, I have never sat on the fence. I always believe in life, you must have an opinion, you must have a view. It's very easy to be in the middle. So I will take a position. I believe the India alliance ought to win Bihar. Now, if it's going to be a fair election, I believe India alliance will win hands down with a clear majority. If that happens, I see two things happening. The JDU, which has got 101 seats that they're actually contesting in the elections, if the JDU comes down substantially, as I expect them to, uh, I think the JDU will effectively be a non-entity. The BJP has this anaconda politics; it'll consume the entire JDU, which means the JDU at the center could become irrelevant. And if they have any self-respect, they'll probably pull out of the government, which means that Chandrababu Naidu will have a greater say. And Chandrababu Naidu at that point could then take his call because he's smart enough to be aware that you can't bank on the BJP because the BJP is waiting to enter Andhra just like the way they entered Maharashtra and Bihar using the opposition alliance support that they had. They are willing to do the same in Andhra Pradesh. Well, then Naidu is capable of pulling the rug from under his feet anytime next year. So if JDU pulls out, Naidu controls the reins effectively. Naidu can move out anytime because Andhra is equally susceptible to a BJP infiltration. And if that happens, who knows? Next year there will be multiple state elections. You could even have a general one.
Absolutely. In fact, you were talking about Chandrababu Naidu. So before I end the program, just a little whisper in the political corridors that Nitish Kumar is talking to Chandrababu Naidu in the morning and in the evening. What they are talking, we don't know, but they are in regular touch. That is what is coming out of the corridors of power. Uh,
So let,
Sanjay,
let me tell you something interesting what I would like to see. Obviously, I would love to see India Alliance win. JDU backs out of the central government. So you have, and Naidu backs out too. And I tell you what can happen. You have a UPA led prime minister, Naidu as a deputy prime minister, and a Nitish Kumar as a future president. Anything is possible. It's
yeah,
politics. And I think we have to keep this in mind that the BJP has made India's politics so transactional that while it is terribly unprincipled and unethical, I would like the UPA or rather the India Alliance to be extremely smart. It's a game of chess. Somebody makes a move, you might lose a pawn here and there, but you can still win the damn game.
absolutely. And I'll go by what you said that I think India is on the cusp of a big, big change. Will the opposition seize this moment is $1 million question. Thank you so much, Sanjay, and always a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you. Thank you so
Likewise.
much.
Thank you.